Welcome to the Monday Monologue. This week, I want to talk about what we've got in store for 2022. And as you can see, I've been accumulating iron for projects for next year. And some of these projects I was going to work on this year, but then I got sidetracked on this preamp thing that a lot of y'all said you wanted to see. So we've done the preamp thing. We've done some speaker builds. I want to start building amplifiers, and I've got some really cool things that I want to try. Some of the stuff I've been picking up just on eBay as I've seen them. Some of these things I've ordered for projects that I've changed my mind about. And so we've got a ton of iron here ready to build some cool projects with. We'll start on this end down here. This is a project that I definitely want to do in 2022, and that's build some St35 clone push-pull monoblocks, which I may end up going with fixed bias even. I'm not sure yet. Still in kind of the figuring out what I'm going to do phase, but I am planning to do monoblocks. I've got these 25 watt EdCore output transformers that have the correct 23% UL tap for that amplifier design. And then I've got a couple of power transformers, chokes over here, most of the parts to build this thing all ready to go. I'm still trying to decide what kind of chassis to put it in, because I'm probably going to build it as an integrated amp, and I may build it as monoblocks in one big chassis with two separate power supplies. Haven't figured that out yet, but that's going to be something we're going to build. Got a couple of really nice Hashimoto SE UL output transformers to use on my 47 direct heated pentode build. Probably going to use a choke loaded, maybe a 27 tube for the driver. Haven't decided yet. This may end up being built as a power amp that requires a preamp or a little extra gain and won't run straight off of line source, which I'm perfectly fine with, and be able to keep all globe tubes in the driver and the output and rectifier. I think that's going to be a really cool build. I found a super cool like 1940s vintage milliamp meter that's going to have this whole steampunk kind of vibe to it. And I thought it would be cool to use some like really, at least for me, I consider these really high-end output transformers to try to make this thing sound as good as 1930s tubes can possibly sound, and use technology that like ultralinear wasn't even a thing back when these tubes were made. So I think that may end up being my next project. I've got a really nice chassis for this too, so that's something I'm really excited about. Down on this end, I just got a great deal on these Hammond 5K push-pull output transformers. They don't have UL taps. It's an earlier version, but I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with these. I could see these getting used for a push-pull 300B amp. That might be something fun to build. Or some other tube like that, that we can use as a triode strap or a direct heated triode. Not sure yet exactly what I'm going to do with these, but too good a deal to pass up. These are some 3.2K SE 20 watt Haber output transformers. Again, got a smoking deal on these, and I think I'm going to build a 2A3 direct heated triode amp out of these with probably a really unique driver setup. So we'll get into that more when I get into this project, but I've got some nice treasure tubes on the way. Found some of those on sale from one of my favorite websites, and hopefully this is going to really sound sweet. And then I can compare the 2A3 to the 300B and see which one I think sounds best. This was another thing I got a really smoking deal on. This is a monster power transformer. I think it's a 700 milliamp. I mean, this thing could drive something crazy. And so, who knows what this is going to get used for. But again, too good a deal to pass up. You never know, we're going to need some monster power transformer. Next, I got a pair of these 290DAX power transformers. Really nice ones. I think these are 230 milliamp that have the copper shielding. These are just super nice power transformers. Really quiet, they run cool, and I like this lay down style where they sit like this in the amp. This pair is going to get used for the KT88 Monoblocks. And I've got a couple of 100 watt Edcore push-pull ultralinear output transformers on order. Had them on order for a couple of months. They should be here probably in February or March. And so that's definitely in the queue. So guys, we got a ton of stuff that we're going to be building next year. And one of the things that I wanted to cover today too is a question came up. Somebody was asking me, if I want a good sounding SE amplifier for around $500, should I build it myself? Should I buy an A12 and modify it? Asking all these kind of questions. And honestly, if you're going to be doing any of this kind of stuff, and if you're following my channel, I hope you're like me and you're doing this just because you love doing this stuff. I mean, to me, this is a hobby that I'm enjoying, learning things. I don't care if it takes 30 hours of fab work or assembly work to build an amplifier. I'm enjoying myself while I'm doing it. And I'm ready to build the next one and try it. And so when people ask me, is this worth doing? If all you want is an amplifier to listen to, you're probably better off taking the time that you would spend doing some DIY build and just working some overtime or doing some, on the side work and earn a little extra money and just go buy one and not buy all the tools and soldering equipment and all this, all the parts and everything that you need to build one. Because at the end of the day, you're going to spend at least as much as what a nice commercial amp costs, or I think you will. And by the time you put your labor in it, you definitely will. And I'm not trying to discourage people from doing this, but I don't think doing this as a way of saving a few bucks is really in the spirit of DIY. It should be the joy that you get out of making things with your hands and seeing something and listening to something that you've built yourself. And the other thing too, if you built it and you understand how it works, then if it stops working for some reason, you'll be able to fix it. And if you don't quite like the way it sounds, you can experiment with changing resistor values and capacitors and stuff and get it to sound like you want it to sound like. So anyway, that wasn't my typical rant, but I just wanted to put that in there too, that I think it's important that you understand the reason that you're doing this stuff so you're not disappointed when you get to the end of the process. So anyway, 2022, man, we're going to be building some stuff. And I'm probably going to be selling, the onesies that I build and maybe that aren't my absolute favorites on eBay and try to recoup some of the money that I've put into these things so that I can build more stuff. Like I've got 2 of those 6SQ7 amps. I don't need 2 of those. They're all but identical. So probably going to first of the year, going to put one of those on eBay. And as we build through this stuff, some of this stuff is probably going to end up on eBay, but I'm not going to go into production building amplifiers. I just don't think that's really what I want to do or why I'm doing this. So I get people sending me emails, send me a price list. There's not one. Like I said, I'll let y'all know on a Monday monologue if and when I put things up for sale and, provide the link to them. I would appreciate any donations that you might want to go to my website. I'll put the link below. Throw a little donation my way. Helps me afford this stuff because, as you can imagine, this pile of iron here was not cheap. And that's what it takes for me to keep making content for this channel. So thank all of you folks that subscribe. Just makes me want to make more content. So if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. Please like the video, and we'll see you next week for the Monday Monologue.